On this week's episode of A Win is a Win, we're going to dive deep into week 6. Is it time for us to really start talking about the New England Patriots? We're going to unpack a plethora of injuries that happened this past weekend. Is Thursday night football really necessary? And we're going to talk about this week's bets. So sit back, kick your feet up, and we're going to dive deep into what happened this past week. And I promise you, we will not do a lot of unnecessary talking like Micah Parsons. It's a win is a win. Let's go, y'all.
It's time for the Rookie Rundown.
Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. Well, we have week 6 in the books, and let me tell you, it did and didn't disappoint. We'll get into that a little later, but first, like, subscribe, and share this podcast, and tell somebody to tell somebody else to join. A win is a win. Now, Seattle's Devon Witherspoon shut down Jamar Chase in primary defender coverage. Now, he limited Chase to a single catch, broke up 17% of passes. His opponents are all under 50% of targets towards him, only giving up 128 passing yards. Now, I believe Seattle just might have their next corner. Tight end Mike Mayer for the Raiders, making some noise. After Garoppolo left due to an injury, he showed he was a reliable weapon, middle of the field. 5 catches for 75 yards. Not bad. Now, his stats are not going to jump off the page and slap you in the face. They won't. But that's the reality for tight ends nowadays. He could be starting to find his groove in that Raiders offense. The Notre Dame tight end just might be the magic that those Vegas Raiders need. My Cleveland Browns. Yes, my Cleveland Browns. You all listen, and you know I bleed brown and orange. Rookie tackle DeJuan Jones put into the starting lineup due to injuries, namely one being Nick Chubb. Now, he had a tough matchup against 49ers. Nick Bosa had help on the edges early, but he eventually held it down. Now, against Bosa and vet Randy Gregory, he didn't have an easy task. No easy position for sure, but he helped get that upset W in Cleveland. I do not think that there's a problem with Brock Purdy, but fall football is tough. And the weather in Cleveland definitely is not like the weather in Oakland. It's cold. People are bundled up. The pigskin is a lot tougher. It's a lot colder. Wide receivers, it's going to slip right out of your hands. I do not think that Brock Purdy needs to be taken out of the conversation for MVP. I do feel that there needs to be more attention on the Browns' defense, number 2 defense in the entire league. They showed up when it was necessary. Defense. Offense could use a little bit of work. This is for sure. Top 15 highest performing graded rookie players this week. Devon Achane, 93.6. Jalen Carter, 91.8. Devon Witherspoon, 84.4. Puka Nakua, 82.2. And rounding out the top five, Joey Porter Jr., 81.9. When it comes to rookies showing up and putting in that work, we got that week 6. Coming up next, we're going to jump into Campus Gridiron. What's going to go down with Ohio State and those Nittany Lions? We'll be back.
Let's see what's up with our Campus Gridiron.
All right, let's go ahead and get into Campus Gridiron and see what's happening in week 8. Now, Big Noon kickoff is set. 3rd ranked Ohio State will face 7th ranked Penn State. Now, both teams are set for some fierce action on the gridiron. Should be very interesting to see what goes on out there on that field. Now, it should be a tightly contested contest to the very end. I do not believe we will be disappointed. Now, with a walk-off touchdown, the Buckeyes beat Notre Dame. And we're going to see if Penn State's hopes to shock the world to move up in rankings will come into fruition. That game is set. It is one of the most talked about games so far, and we have not been disappointed, in my opinion, so far in college football. What should Bama do for QB? Well, we have Milroe, Buckner, and Simpson. Now, Milroe, he has a highest ceiling, but the lowest floor. Physical ability of all three, top tier. Too careless with the ball, too careless. Simpson, intriguing, but inexperienced. Solid against USF, but only 21 career dropbacks. Now, Buckner is the most experienced. No signs of a starting caliber QB for him with 52.6% passing grade. Now, the O-line surrendered 4th highest pressure in Power 5 so far at 29.6%, and that is under a new offensive coordinator. The Flames are full-fledged in Tuscaloosa right now, and Nick Saban has his work definitely cut out. So, who will be the starting QB against Ole Miss? We shall see. Now, stop me if you've heard this before. This week's college football slate is completely loaded. For the 5th straight weekend, there are 4 games between ranked teams, and that hasn't happened since 2012. Now look at what we have. We have Penn State, obviously, against Ohio State. And we also have a couple of other games. We have Tennessee Volunteers at Alabama. Big game. We also have here Washington State Cougars at Oregon Ducks. Another huge game. You cannot say that this week is not loaded. We have Duke at Florida State. Lots of games going on around college football. Who is your team? And what do you think they're going to do this week? Also, let's talk about college rankings. And do you think that the PFF college rankings are fair? Lots of talk going on about how the schools are ranked. We're going to get into that on another episode, but something to think about in the question down below when you listen to this podcast. At the bottom of your screen, that question is going to be there. Let me know what you think. Drop me a line and we'll discuss it when we get into Campus Gridiron on next week's episode. Coming up next, we're going to get into sports news. Micah Parsons, you play for the Dallas Cowboys. What comes with that? A lot of scrutiny. We'll be right back. Are you searching for some new NFL gear? Well, go to DrT23.site. That is DRT23.site. Click the NFL shop link there. Enter your code NFL30 to get 30% off of your purchase. Let's get back to the show.
Let's get into the sports news.
Time for some sports news now. Mecole Hardman, who essentially was signed by the Jets, is now traded back to the Chiefs. Now, the Jets signed Hardman in the offseason. It ended up pretty much an unfortunate situation. Hardman was meant to be a return man or speed threat on the outside. Didn't really happen. Why? Coaching staff fell in love with rookie Xavier Gibson instead. Now, that left Hardman on the bench majority of the time. Now, when you talk about Hardman returning back to the Chiefs, I do believe that this will feel right to him. He'll feel right at home with Patrick Mahomes. And he'll get that field time and that play time and that clock time as he was promised with the Jets. We shall see. Chicago Bears, not competitive at all this season. At all, in my opinion. The organization is starting to feel the heat. Jalen Johnson, now he seems to be pretty privy to the chatter about trading. Now, amidst another poor season, Johnson was initially in talks for a contract extension, but nothing came of it. Now, Johnson was quoted, "I'm not blind nor oblivious when it comes to trading. If you can trade Quinn, then man, you can trade anybody." Well, point made. And that is going to make the upcoming trade deadline even more interesting. Micah, can you turn off your mic? Parsons wants to remind the media, hey y'all, the 49ers lost and the Eagles lost. Well, does Brock Purdy get a pass because of the weather conditions in Cleveland? Why is Jalen Hurts getting a pass? Because their team was otherwise healthy. He's feeling that the media gives the aforementioned teams a pass on their L's, while the Cowboys were scrutinized, and is tired of the continued criticism about his QB, Dak Prescott. He wants everyone to have the same energy when it comes to scrutinizing teams with their losses. And I, for one, am entirely sick and tired of Micah with the chirp, 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 the chitter chatter, talk, talk, talk. Listen, Parsons, you play for the most recognized, popular, polarizing team in the NFL and even in the world. You have Cowboy fans in other countries. You have babies that are being born who are, by default, Dallas Cowboy fans. It's what you signed up for. And I'm pretty sure a part of you knew that, and you still know that when you put on the jersey. And that's why it's bothering you, because you play for the Dallas Cowboys, with arguably the most confusing owner who talks just as much out the side of his face as you do. Sure, Cowboy fans are going to love it, while haters, not so much. Parsons, here's what you do: avoid the chit chat and realize who you play for. End the criticism by getting a title, which now stands at 10,125 days. And yes, Dak is going to get criticism because you know who he plays for. And so will you. You have been missing the last 3 years. Let's just keep it real. On the back end of the game, you show up. Where are you at during the front half of the games? Haven't seen you. The kind of win, the barely win over the Chargers. And don't get me wrong, mistakes on both sides. So you got a sack and you made a big play at the end of the game. So when you line up and you want to feel that everyone needs to have that same energy, well, bottle it up, shut up. And when you line up across from that defender, then that's when you need to take it out. We want to see it on the gridiron. Dallas Cowboys fans want to see wins. And I hope you're still not celebrating in SoFi Stadium because that game is over and you have a bye week. Relax, get a massage, eat some healthy food, reset your mind and your mouth, and get ready for your next matchup. That's we're going to end it in sports news. Next, we're going to talk about the enormous amount of injuries that happened in week 6, and we'll be right back.
Who's hurt? Who's ready to go? Time for the injury report.
All right, time for our injury report. Lots of injuries took place this past week. Let's dive right into it. Jags Trevor Lawrence out with reported knee injury, forcing him to miss a full days of practice, including limited action the following day. It doesn't look to be major, and he's optimistic that he'll play. However, the team might hold him out simply because Thursday night is a quick turnaround. Now, I said it in the beginning of the podcast, and we'll talk about it later, but the hatred for Thursday night games is real. So, no chances taken, especially on a franchise cornerstone. Colts fans, I'm sorry. You have my apologies. I know it hurts. Just when Jonathan Taylor hits the turf, rookie QB Richardson is out for the season due to shoulder surgery. Now, we should note that he opted for the surgery now, then that puts him ready for next season. So it's better for him to get it done and get out the way so that he can hit that turf next season. Now, there's no real idea of what the duo on offense could really do, so just need to wait a little longer. On a good note, kind of, for the Cardinals, Kyler Murray is slated to return to the field. 21 days to go to hit the practice field and get back into some action. With Dobbs playing solid football, it should be interesting to see how soon they rush Murray back. Either way, Kyler Murray is a boost, and I'm sure the fans will be excited to see him play again. Now, here's where I'm conflicted. The Cards are 1-5. Why rush him back? Why? What's the reason? 1-5. Your season is basically done, in my opinion. And then why risk your franchise quarterback to be injured again? Don't know, but as I stated, I'm sure the Cards fans will be excited to see him back on the gridiron. Debo and McCaffrey both out after Sunday's game. More details to come with them. Aaron Rodgers complete tear of his Achilles tendon on 9/12. Now, let's talk about the Achilles. This is every bit of my line of work. Now, the Achilles is a strong fibrous cord, and it basically connects the muscle in the back of the calf to the heel bone. Now, what does the tendon do? Well, the tendon directs the movement from the leg to the foot. Now, that also enables you to rise and flex your toes up. Now, what's the most common reason for an Achilles rupture? Well, sudden movement of the heel upward is more of the typical contributing factor to a complete rupture. I want to go a step further here. 5 weeks post-op, he's bearing weight and throwing a rock around. No crutches, no limp. I've not, me personally, and quite a few of my colleagues that we've chatted up about Aaron and this injury, we've not seen anything of this nature. And it's cringy because from a medical perspective, you're concerned. So now, here we go. Is it the Dolphins that he's listening to? He goes onto these retreats on islands, and he's said in plenty of interviews, listen to dolphins, they'll heal you. Is it the dolphins? Is it the ayahuasca toad? He admittedly has dabbled into that. Don't know. I'm not on this Aaron bandwagon of alien type of activity. Mr. Untouchable in some conversations. How is he healing himself? No one knows. He hasn't said. The only things he said is dolphins and resting and meditating and ayahuasca and all of these other things. It's concerning. There is a medical timeline for every injury in every sport. In your normal life, you can walk, trip, fall 4 to 6 weeks. Sit down 6 months, a year. There's a medical timeline. Clearly, in this situation, there's an Aaron Rodgers timeline, and he has his own. Coming up next, we are going to dive into my favorite segment, just like I do, Bet Masters. We're going to dive into some crazy bets and go over some picks for this upcoming week. We'll be right back. Hold on. Time for our new segment, Sounding Off with Tiff. Yes, every week we're going to have some colorful commentary about what has made me want to sound off. Let's get into it. Thursday night football, right there. Right there. Arguably, fans and players' most dreaded game. No recovery time for players, more risk for injury. Hard to travel during the week. Now Goodell knows it's about money, so he resists. It only continues to get worse every year, every single year, worse and worse. Overexerted bodies, no time to rest. Sloppy games, below par, and reduced quality on the field. The announcers are boring, not engaged. You come back from commercial break, dead silence, nothing. Oh, hi guys. Yes, we're the commentators for Thursday Night Football, and so we continue. Betting. The underdog has only won twice, which is far below the average of 39% success rate. Now, additionally, here are some other things that really, really burns my grits. It's unfair to high schools. It clashes with a lot of high school games across the nation. Shouldn't have to go against NFL primetime TV on your phone while you're sitting at your child's game or practice watching an NFL game because it's been forced down our throats, or even worse, staying at home to watch it and missing that practice or the game. Fantasy football. Players like myself simply forget to update their teams, causing them to drop points. The irregular nature of the fixture, well, the players hate it. And why? It's too easy to miss. So, therefore, a lot of fantasy players, well, you know what happens there. Committing, no, whether I should say, bullying TV networks into thinking the NFL could do it alone, forcing them into spending more money. Amazon came right on in the kitchen, sat down and had dinner. Jeff Bezos said, "Oh, hey, y'all, what's for dinner? Because I'm eating." Dear NFL, get rid of Thursday night football or extend to 18 weeks and add a bye before Thursday night football. Knock the complaints about players' welfare on the head and let the boys rest. One extra week, it's not going to ruin your NFL calendar. Don't take the treat away from fans that is every week. You gave us something to look forward to. Well, what have you given us? Exhausted players and underprepared coaches. NFL execs' pockets stay fat, and we, the fans, simply stay bored. Join me on DraftKings. Go to Dr. T23.site. That is DRT23.site. Go ahead and click join me on DraftKings and get your $200 bonus bet. When you bet $5 instantly on DraftKings Sportsbook money lines, totals, and same game parlays, DraftKings has the action.
It's a bet. Time for Bet Masters.
All right, let's get into Bet Masters. Now, this week, I'm going to take the Bills to win on the road over the Patriots. Now, Mac Jones and company aren't doing anything well right now. The Patriots are 1-5 and behind one of the worst ran offenses in pro football. Now, Bills did have a bad outing against the Giants. I don't suspect that'll happen again. Packers over Broncos. Packers haven't been much better, but I'll take their defense over the Broncos. Now, Broncos already allowed 70 points in the game and coming off of a loss where the offense barely had 100 yards and scored only 8 points. Chiefs over the Chargers. Chargers can't seem to finish close games. They're a mess. Pair that with Mahomes' ability to get it done, even in tough situations. Yes, Chiefs over the Chargers. And a quick word on Thursday night football. Now, I'm taking the Jags over the Saints. Here's why. The Saints are down 3 offensive linemen, and a game time decision will be made for defensive stalwart in the middle, Denario Davis. Now, Saints offense hasn't scored points consistently despite their level of talent. And the Jags are starting to roll on both sides of the ball, and it could possibly be a potential blowout. Now, here is my week 7 parlays. I got 2 of them. I have 2 of them. Write them down if you choose or come up with your own. Now, I'm going to go straight money line. As I said, Jags to win over the Saints. And this is a same game parlay. So remember, go back to Bet Masters University, where we discuss what same game parlays are. Okay, Thursday night football, same game parlay. Jags win over the Saints. Now we're going to go with a team with over 60 and a half rushing yards. And then we're going to go Kamara from the Saints to score a touchdown. $10 bet, get you back about 106 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, here's my second parlay. I'm going to take the dog, the Detroit Lions, at a 3-point spread over Baltimore. I said it. Please understand what the Detroit Lions are all about in the statement that they are making this year. Yes, I'm taking the dog on that one. Obviously, I am going to take the Cleveland Browns, betting the point spread on that, 2.5. I think they'll cover it. And then I am going to take the Bills, as I said. They're the underdog at an 8.5-point spread. Yes, I know Patriots are the Patriots, and some people in Vegas seem to think they're going to win. I, however, think differently. $10 bet gets you about $69 back on DraftKings Sportsbook. That's going to end it for this week's episode of A Win is a Win. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Hit that bell in the top part of your screen to get those notifications. And we'll see you back here, same time, same place, same day, next week for more football. Peace.